Growing up as a fan of the San Jose Sharks, I couldn't help but notice the similarities between my team and the Washington Capitals. Both teams always seemed to do well in the regular season before falling flat on their faces during the playoffs, going out in embarrassing fashion. Less than a year after the Capitals won their first Stanley Cup, I came across gematria and numerology, thanks to Zachary K. Hubbard. I initially had my doubts that hockey was scripted, but after learning the code, I came to that unfortunate realization. When studying gematria and numerology, it becomes obvious that the Jesuits and Freemasons control our world of sports and entertainment. Once I was able to interpret and analyze their influence, the connection between these two franchises was unveiled before my eyes. Let's get started, shall we? Before I get into the teams, it's important to establish the connection between the Jesuits and Freemasons. Both have their headquarters in Washington, D.C. The Scottish Rite House of the Temple is located at 1733 Northwest 16th Street. We'll touch on the importance of 17 and 33 later on. This location is the headquarters for the Southern Jurisdiction of Freemasonry in the United States, controlling most of the country. Also located in Washington, D.C. is the Jesuit Conference and the Association of Jesuit Colleges and Universities. The Jesuit University Georgetown is located in Washington, D.C. If you want to learn more about the Jesuit-Freemason connection, I encourage you to watch this recent video by See Through the Script. The Washington Capitals began play in 1974. It was a fitting year for our nation's capital, as our nation's Independence Day is 7/4. In gematria, holiday, Jesus, cross, Masonic, gospel, Jewish, and Messiah all equal 74. Washington Capitals equals 211, the 47th prime. If you're just getting into gematria, 47 is one of the most important, if not the most important number to the cabal. DC, government, Democrat, Republican, Whig, White House, authority, and president all equal 47. The compass in the Freemason logo is set at 47 degrees. Washington Capitals equals 76, a tribute to the year our country was founded, 1776. Their first ever win was by a score of 4-3. D is the fourth letter and C is the third. Keep that in mind for later. 43 is going to come up a lot in this video. Masonic equals 43 and Society of Jesus equals 191, the 43rd prime. Washington, D.C. equals 56, just like Society of Jesus. Their first season did not fare very well, though, as they only managed 8 wins for a .131 winning percentage. 131 is the 32nd prime, like America, and there are 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo. 8 and 32 coming together will be a big theme to look out for later. Now let's skip forward to September 17th, 1985. That was the day current Capitals star Alexander Ovechkin was born. This had 130 and 49 date numerology, just like Washington. September 17th is written as 17/9 in much of the world, including his native Russia. 179 is the 41st prime number, and USA equals 41. His full name, Alexander Mikhailovich Ovechkin, equals 147. Freemason, U.S. President, and President of the United States all equal 147. Furthermore, there are 147 windows on the White House. Alex Ovechkin equals 129, as does America in the Jewish cipher. Don't ask me why Derek renamed it Latin. And 129 is 201 in base 8 counting. The Jesuit order equals 201. So it's safe to say he was born for the part. We'll get back to Ovechkin later, but for now we're going to hop in the time machine again and jump forward 6 years. 17 years after the Capitals began play, the San Jose Sharks started up. 17 is a number connected to Freemasonry, as it was founded in the year 1717. Mason equals 17, and Freemasonry equals 59, the 17th prime. The Sharks' first game was on October 4th, 1991, the 277th day of the year. 277 is the 59th prime number, just like Freemasonry. They lost that game 4-3, there's that number again. San Jose, when abbreviated on scoreboards, is written as SJ, which is the same abbreviation that the Society of Jesus goes by. Furthermore, S is the 19th letter, J is the 10th, and since zeros are just placeholders in numerology, this looks a lot like 191, like Society of Jesus, and 191 is the 43rd prime. San Jose also equals 43. Just days later, the Sharks won their first ever game by a score of 4-3, just like the Capitals had done 17 years prior. The Sharks ended up winning 17 games that season. Funny enough, their first 3 playoff series all ended 4-3. While there is no Jesuit university within San Jose city limits, Santa Clara University is just down the road. SAP Center, where the Sharks play, is on Santa Clara Street, and if you keep following that street, you'll eventually reach Santa Clara University. San Jose is also home to the Rosicrucian Egyptian Museum, which definitely has some Masonic and Jesuit influence. While Washington, D.C. is the capital of America, San Jose is known as the capital of Silicon Valley, and while the sun in its logo is not the same as the Jesuit sun, it is similar. 7 seasons later, the Capitals made it to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time ever. This was the Capitals' 24th season, and the sun equals 24, like there are 24 hours in a day, and the Jesuits' logo is a sun. While he did not have any association to the Capitals yet, it's important to note that this was 13 years after Ovechkin was born, and remember, USA equals 41, the 13th prime. They were unfortunately swept by the Red Wings, with the score of Game 4 being 4-1. The Caps were outscored 13-7 across the series. Washington, D.C. equals 137, the 33rd prime. I mentioned earlier that if you're new to gematria, 47 might be the most important number. Well, if there's any number that's more important, it's 33. Masonry, order, secrecy, society, people, person, and police all equal 33, and there are 33 vertebrae in our spine. Furthermore, the finals ended on 139 date numerology, like Freemasonry, and 49 date numerology, like Washington. We'll hop in the time machine again, this time going only 4 years into the future, to October 12, 2002. On this day, future San Jose Shark William Eklund is born. In numerology, since zeros are just placeholders, this date, 10/12, can be seen as 112, like the Jesuits claim to operate in 112 countries. William Eklund equals 56 and 79, just like Society of Jesus. This was 17 years after Ovechkin was born. Nearly 2 years later, on June 26, 2004, Alexander Ovechkin is drafted by the Washington Capitals at number 1 overall. This had 56 date numerology, and that year's draft was held at the RBC Center, which equals 56 and 43. While this was a leap year, June 26th is normally the 177th day of the year, just like the Jesuit order. June 26th is also the day leaving 188 days left in the year, just like Bavarian Illuminati. And if you add up all the denominations of the US dollar bill, it equals 188. If you don't think the Illuminati and the Jesuits are connected, well, I have news for you. Order of Illuminati equals 201, just like the Jesuit order, and the Illuminati's founder, Adam Weishaupt, died 201 days after the anniversary of its founding. Unfortunately for Ovechkin, the 2004-05 lockout canceled the entire season. He finally made his much-anticipated NHL debut on October 5, 2005. This was 18 days after his 20th birthday. Washington, D.C. equals 61, the 18th prime, like IHS, the monogram for Isus Hominum Salvator, which appears on the Jesuit logo. Ovechkin, who wears number 8, scored 2 goals in a 3-2 win over Columbus. I mentioned earlier to look out for 8 and 32. Well, here's another incident. It was also the first game of the Capitals' 32nd season. Oh, and Columbus is going to come back around later. Ovechkin's teams had trouble getting out of the first round early in his career, but his first 4 playoff series all ended 4-3. There's that number again. In 2016, the Sharks made it to the Stanley Cup Final for the first time ever. Now you might be saying to yourself, Evan, this is 18 years after the Capitals made it for the first time, not 17, so this disproves everything. Well, do you remember the lockout that canceled an entire season? That means the Sharks' first Stanley Cup Finals appearance was 17 seasons after the Capitals' first Stanley Cup Finals appearance. This won't be the last time we'll talk about this discrepancy in this video. So even though Wikipedia says it was the Sharks' 25th season, it was really their 24th season of play. San Jose CA equals 24. And the Sharks ended up losing this series 2-4. On the theme of 32, they lost game 1 3-2 and won their first game of the series 3-2. A few months later, Alex Ovechkin revealed in a media availability session that the San Jose Sharks were his favorite team growing up. Wait, what? If you denied a connection before, it's hard to deny one now. He said that his favorite player was Owen Nolan, who wore number 11. Of course, Ovechkin was 31 years old at that time, and 31 is the 11th prime, reminding us that he was drafted by the Capitals heading into their 31st season. He said that he had an Ulf Dahlin jersey on his wall, who played for both the Sharks and Capitals. Funny enough, he scored 41 regular season goals in his time with the Sharks and played 43 games with them in his final season there. His birthday is 21/1, just like Washington Capitals. 2 years after the Sharks made the finals for the first time, the Washington Capitals found themselves back in the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in 20 years. In the first round, they beat Columbus, the team they played in Alex Ovechkin's NHL debut. Their first win of that series was a 3-2 victory. Deja vu? This was their 43rd season. Now you're probably thinking to yourself again, isn't it their 44th since they started in 1974? Two things. One, the lockout, which we just talked about. And even Wikipedia says it was their 43rd season, despite saying that their previous season was also their 43rd. If it was their 44th, they beat the Lightning to get there, which equals 44. And they also won that series 4-3. In the Stanley Cup Finals, they faced off against the expansion Vegas Golden Knights, and Las Vegas, Nevada equals 43. They unfortunately lost Game 1, 4-6. Vegas Golden Knights equals 199, the 46th prime, and it was on Memorial Day, which equals 64. 2 days later, though, they won Game 2, 3-2, to improve to 1-5 all-time in Stanley Cup Finals games. Remember, DC equals 47, the 15th prime. In light of all the 32 themes we've talked about so far, Las Vegas NV equals 32, so it's fitting that they won their first ever finals game by that score in that city. They won their next 3 games to win the Stanley Cup 4-1 in Ovechkin's 13th season, as 41 is 13th prime. The score of Game 5 was 4-3. What a way to conclude their 43rd season, winning it in Las Vegas, Nevada. 43 is the 14th prime, and this was 14 years after Ovechkin was drafted into the league. The previous summer, on August 9, 2017, Capital One purchased the naming rights to the Capitals Arena, becoming Capital One Arena. This was just over 43 weeks before the Capitals got Stanley Cup number 1. They also improved to 4-3 all-time against Vegas. Ovechkin won the Conn Smythe Award at age 32. They won it all 19 seasons after making it for the first time. 19 is the 8th prime, and Ovechkin wears number 8, and those finals concluded Ovechkin's 19th NHL playoff series. This was on June 7th, in tribute to George Washington, who died at age 67, and they won the Stanley Cup on then Vice President Mike Pence's 59th birthday. On July 23, 2021, in the 59th NHL draft, the San Jose Sharks selected Jesuit puppet William Eklund in round 1, pick 7, 17 years after Ovechkin was drafted. He wears number 72, like San Jose, California. He made his NHL debut on October 16, 2021, the 289th day of the year, which is 17 squared, or the day leaving 76 days left in the year, as Sharks equals 76. The Sharks won that game by the all-familiar score of 4-3. Eklund's rookie season didn't last long, though, as he was sent back to Sweden on November 5th, 24 days after his birthday, and the day leaving 56 days left in the year. On January 26, 2022, the Sharks beat the Capitals 4-1. While this might seem irrelevant, remember how Ovechkin said he had an Ulf Dahlin jersey growing up? Well, Ulf's son Jonathan scored a goal for the Sharks in that game, making the score 3-1, like how he told that story initially at age 31, the 11th prime, and the Sharks picked up their 11th away win of the season. They also picked up their 22nd overall win of the season, like how Ulf wore number 22 with the Sharks. Although not connected to the Sharks or Capitals, the Colorado Avalanche won the Stanley Cup in their 43rd season, winning it on the 18-year anniversary of Alex Ovechkin being drafted into the league, with number 8 Cale Makar winning the Conn Smythe 18 weeks before his birthday. So what does this all mean for the future? I'm not saying William Eklund is going to be the next great goal scorer like Alex Ovechkin, as he's still in the AHL, but the script and rituals for Sharks games will be centered around him. If you've caught on to the 17, 32, and 43 themes, there's a clue as to when the Sharks will win their first Stanley Cup. I won't say which year it is, but you should be smart enough to figure it out. Funny enough, this year, the Sharks and Capitals will play each other on the 43rd day of the year and the 4th of March, which can be written as 4/3.